We're going to take a look at the ProSENDR today. This is a unique GPS system for your hands and feel, certainly trail hand, for you to get pro-like swings, apparently, is what ProSENDR is saying, that you've always wanted. I'm going to give it full review. If you like the review, hit that like button down below. Also down below there is a link. If you want to buy this product, hit that link and go and buy it. If you don't want to buy this product and you want to just find out what it is, stay around because I'm going to give it a full honest review. So the ProSENDR is a roadmap to your improvement, is what the instructors who developed this device are calling it. So we've got Sean Foley and David Woods, two very acclaimed golf coaches, work with a lot of the world's most elite. Sean Foley obviously working with Tiger once before, as many other great golfers. They have developed this ProSENDR device to help you get the feel of what certain parts of your golf swing should feel like, while at the same time also leaving it up to you to try and work those feels into your swing to make it work for you. So let's have a look at what was in the box to kick us off. So nice little neat box that it comes in. You open it up, very simple. There's kind of two bits that turns into three bits. We get the strap that straps the device around your wrist. You get the wrist cup with this nice kind of graphite effect on it, and also you get this kind of blue squishy ball. Compression sphere is what they're calling it. It's like a compression ball that also has a bit of Velcro on that fits onto the strap. We're going to show you what you can do with these devices, but the unit itself looks neat, simplistic, easy application just to put it on your wrist. It looks good. So to kick us off, let's show you how it could help you understand what you need to do in your takeaway to help you hit better golf shots. So when it comes in the box, this strap is actually connected with a simple Velcro part here. So it just literally connects to it here. Really simple application. You place it on your right wrist because you can see here the cup. This is where we want the hand to go into. We have a little kind of trigger finger notch here, which is where you're going to try and get your first finger of your trail hand really to kind of fit into, so you know you've got it at the right angle. And then all you're going to do is basically pop it on your wrist nice and tight if you want to hit shots, which you can, and you're literally just going to wrap it around your wrist so you've got it in a place where your trail wrist can fit into that notch. We then get this compression sphere with the Velcro, which can just literally sit on there if we're going to use it for other applications, which we'll show you in a second. To start us off, we're just going to use the ProSENDR cup. So one of the most simple applications for takeaway, which the ProSENDR is going to start drilling and giving you this kind of GPS system. And what they mean by when they say GPS system is they want you to have a tactile touch of a position-based idea. So cup, your trail wrist going into this cup, but at the same time they want you coming out, which we'll go to. So they don't want to put you in the correct position. They want you to be able to try and find the correct position, and this to assist, which is for lots of people a much better way of learning because you're doing the work rather than just the ProSENDR doing everything. Often when you give people drills that does everything, they kind of do nothing because they're not thinking, they're not building up any roadmap for improvement. You see where they're going? So in the takeaway, if I was someone who was to add a lot of loft to the club, so get the club turning up to the sky, fanning it open, those kind of ideas, what happens with my trail wrist as I do that is it doesn't go anywhere near the cup. So if I just open my wrist this way, in turn open the face this way, what you'll see is that the cup's actually moving away from my wrist. So if I was taking it to extremes, if I was someone fanning that face up to way up to the sky, no one really does it that much, but just to give you an example, look at the gap here. Now, if I'm someone who's making a backswing and I'm working that club face in a stronger fashion, so where the leading edge of the club is a bit more kind of to my spine line, so a bit more face control, I'm starting to get the feeling of my trail wrist nicely, neatly hinging and going in to that cup that's there for me. Now, if you're someone who needs to take the club back a little bit outside or even a little bit inside and you want to get that face into that more positive angle, it still works. It's not really directing your takeaway direction. It's helping you understand that the trail wrist has a direct connection with the club face and its orientation, which then have serious implications on where the ball goes. And it's saying if you get into this little cup position, so you get this trail wrist just cupping back, hinging back, extending back, you're going to hit this cup and there's a good chance your club face will be in a slightly better place for delivery. For the takeaway, it's literally that simplistic. It's getting you to start from kind of here where there's a gap, and as you go back, just introduce no gap, so close that up, which gets a better use of that club face. Simple, and often the best teaching aids are that simple. Now, moving into the backswing, so setting that club up behind you. What we see from lots of amateur golfers, and I've done many videos on this, and this is why this excites me. It excites me for my own use, which we'll come to, but for your use as well. I think so many golfers could benefit from this. Is you do see an over-exaggeration of wrist angles on the backswing for lots of amateur golfers. So what we see is a combination of small turns, not much tilts in their body, and then to make up for the club needing to get kind of over the back of the head, over the trail shoulder, you know, to make a backswing, what we then see is copious amounts of wrist and arm bend. Now, when I do that, again, hinging the wrist up this way, do not put my wrist into that cup. It actually takes it away. And then if I open that face and hinge up, which lots of people do, it's going nowhere near that cup. So again, if I open the face, hinge up, make that backswing, I'm nowhere near in that cup. So my trail wrist is not extending the way it should be to control the club face. So what I'm then going to be able to do, if I use a lot of this, and then I twist the face open and do a bit more, I don't have to make much of a shoulder turn and I'm already set back. If I make kind of tall level shoulder turns, you start seeing these kind of topple over the tops. So what the ProSENDR does, just with the cup and the strap, is it allows you to set your wrists, certainly trail wrists, and in turn obviously the lead wrist comes along for the ride. For lots of people, what will feel a lot earlier and a lot less, or certainly in a different way, less is debatable, but then they realize they get stuck and something else needs to happen. If I put myself in that takeaway position, get my wrist into the cup of the ProSENDR nice and early, and then from here I don't really have to do much more with my trail wrist, but what happens is I'm stuck, nothing happens. I'm kind of going to stop here with amateur level turns and tilts. But what it'll do to help me get my backswing complete is, without me having to use my wrist loads, I'm going to realize, wow, I have to actually turn my upper body. I need to tilt my upper body to get the club up there. And now we start seeing that kind of tall level backswing, that kind of stretched out, more gap, more kind of space backswing, rather than those amateur collapses. Obviously I can still do that, and that's the beauty with the ProSENDR, I can still do those moves, but it doesn't give me that kind of roadmap, if you like, that GPS, that trigger, that feel to switch the order up where this does. This totally gives me that I've touched it, I've kind of can't go any further with that wrist, so I now need to do other things. It's allowing me to change the order. It's giving me tactile signals as I move to allow me to learn some new orders of movement in that backswing. Now, as someone who has struggled with an overbend of trail arm and quite deep arms in my golf swing and not creating the most stretch, this makes so much sense as a training aid. Something I will use, I will train with it, I will hit shots getting into that cup early. I mean, for me, the first thing I realized when I worked on my own swing trying to get more reach is that the trail wrist had all the answers. When I played around in the studio, I was like, oh my word, if I use my trail wrist differently, so extend it more, this means I don't actually need to use my arms that much and I can keep them away from me and turn my shoulders. So as soon as I heard about this product coming out, I was like, I've got to have a go on this, because this is going to confirm everything I feel when I'm changing my swing. And that's all it's doing. It's confirming those feels. Oh yeah, that like keeps me stretched out. Love it. So let's move into the downswing. We've set our backswing. We're in the cup, we've made bigger turns, bigger tilts with our body. You're going to find you've got more stretch out with your arms. You're not giving it these kind of amateur collapses. You are getting these kind of tall level stretches out, and it's coming from you doing this loads more with trail wrist, which is great for so many golfers. How can we use it for the downswing? Now, for lots of golfers, what's hard on the downswing is they try still. So think about holding on to loads of angles, really holding on to angles and then kind of crashing on the way through. Where what we see from good players is we see they hold on to the trail wrist angle for longer than you expect, but they get the angles out of their trail arm, so their trail arm starts straightening. They lower their arms on the downswing. Again, I've done loads of videos on this. So trail arm starting to straighten, lowering your arms, but they do keep that wrist angle in there for much longer than what amateurs want to do. If you're someone who kind of goes this way over the top, trying to flick it forward, you are going to be out of the ProSENDR so early, kind of like around this position, where what I'm going to do is keep myself in that ProSENDR. See how my trail arm is extended? I'm not kind of in here going for these fake handle leans. I'm using trail wrist. Then I'm going to feel it come off. I don't want to keep it in that trail wrist, in that cup, which again is what we see amateurs do, as they actually hold that club off and up on the way through. What we see from the pros is they're holding on to this trail wrist, then they let go. So again, this is where ProSENDR, I think, is clever. It's saying, feel this, get that touch, get that tactile feel it for a period of time, and then it's up to you to let it go. It's up to you to learn what going from A to B feels like and what it can do for your shots. And going from A, so using the wrist, not the trail arm, so round hands parallel-ish to the ground, to out of ProSENDR is great for allowing that club to feel some level of release, some level of catch up and speed down there at the bottom, which is just going to help with shots from drivers to irons to anything. And then moving through the swing to follow through. This one for me doesn't work, but it might for lots of golfers. Apparently you can get back in there as you hinge up, you can get back in the cup. I don't. I get close to it as I come through. I don't get back into the cup, I get close to it. I'm going beyond it a little bit. So I'm not feeling the use on the follow through that well. I think if I wanted to feel a more flighted, kind of held off shot, you know, more up the left and feeling like I'm holding that club off, trying to get like a nice big cutty shot in there, then I get more into ProSENDR. But again, I could move ProSENDR around. I guess I could put it a bit more here to twist it on my wrist. But again, that don't marry my backswing as well. So the follow through, you can use it. They say you can use it to get back in it. And I think for some you would. I wouldn't hang my hat on that personally. I think backswing to downswing into impact and feeling on the ProSENDR to off the ProSENDR is where the money really lies when it comes to the strap and just the wrist cup. Common question I get asked is, can you use it for any club? Yeah, absolutely. It's the same idea with driver here. So if I was to hit a driver, I'm still going to feel like I'm in that cup. And then again, this, for me, it helps more with driver, because driver's where I really get buried with my arms. So it really makes me feel the stretch with driver. So absolutely. I also think for me, swinging in the garden at home where you can swing any club, it really helps, again, build up that kind of roadmap to improvement. Hitting balls with it, great, and you can hit shots with it. Hitting different clubs with it, absolutely. But for me, I think just making practice swings over and over each day, trying to feel that stretch, would just have such benefits coming to the course, making that feeling become more of the feeling I want, the norm. So we're talking club face control. We're talking wrist angles control, which will control face and help with club path. And we're talking release feelings and a bit of follow through. We can hit with it, we can train with it. It is, I can see why so many tour pros have got this in their bag and are using it just to do, you know, kind of on point training when they're not with their coaches. Now, let's have a look at the squishy ball, the compression sphere. So we have this little bit of Velcro here. It just attaches on. What can we do with this? What's quite unique with this, it's called a compression sphere, because you can squish it. You can actually squish it down and it will just come back to shape. So the idea with the ball is get it just above the butt end of the club, and you are now basically compressing it, squeezing it between your two arms, your lead and your trail arm. Now you can keep ProSENDR on as well as use the ball. I think there's quite a lot of feelings when you've got both on, but I understand why you absolutely could. Now what difference does it make? So when I set up to the swing, I'm compressing it. I'm squeezing it between my arms as I move up to the top of the backswing, using ProSENDR correctly and get into good positions. I'm still relatively squeezing it at the top of my backswing. Now if I extend wrist, maybe over exaggerate hinges, see how the club's flopping back, I'm not even touching the ball now, it's come away. I'm certainly not compressing it. So that more together backswing Elbows a little bit more connected, I'm compressing, extending wrist, over exaggerating hinge. I mean, I'm not even touching the ball now. So to continue that club face control on, as well as the relationship between your two arms that might encourage a little bit more of this action. So you can see the path is what people might call laid down a little bit more, but certainly more in a path that might hit straighter at the bottom compared to extending hands, standing club up, this coming off this hand and giving it the big old mighty chop, which we see from loads of golfers. So great for getting the feeling of that club actually coming down from a different path and setting on a different angle. For lots of golfers, what I do is I take the ProSENDR off and I just use the strap and the ball, find it a bit easier to position into position. And in effect, I've got another teaching aid now. If I'm someone who wants to go that way, I'm going to feel that pressure coming off. I'm going to compress the sphere to try and feel like I'm getting that club to lay down and come through a little better. Also, if you're someone who's giving it the massive woohoo on the way down, you know, the arms parting coming through, absolutely it's not coming together. If you're someone giving it the big old this way, again, this moves away from this. I'm not compressing it, which you see from the ProSENDR. Look how my trail arm isn't bent. My hands aren't way across my body. This is going to deliver lovely handle leans, great club face control, and much better, more compressed strikes and hits. Now with both devices on, so I got all three basically, strapped the ProSENDR and the ball. Let's talk about pitching. I think this is a great application for so many golfers. I see pitchers doing like crazy full swings when it comes to hitting small kind of pitches out in front of them. I see them using definitely excessive wrists, where you see good players do having much more of that kind of stiffer wrist feel with good body turns. And this compression ball with ProSENDR is great for feeling the face working and the connection between your arms and your turn to try and make a swing. That in kind of that feeling of less wrist but setting earlier with bigger body turns is what it comes out for me. It'll be different for each golfer. Just putting my wrist in that cup as it goes back with the ball compressed, or the sphere compressed, like it feels like the most simple and repeatable pitching action on the planet. And if I just turn back and turn through, like this would help so many golfers to train their wedges, their pitching, their shorter shots into greens, kind of 50 to 120 yards, subject to how far you hit it. Like that's very, very useful. So just to strap in the ball next, got my 58 here. I'm going to stay here rather than go around the green, but just think about chipping. Like chipping is great. I'm really going to feel on the way through like I absolutely squish this ball together as I release that club forwards. Rather than holding chipping off, what lots of people do and getting that ball coming out, I'm going to feel like I let that wrist go forwards, which really starts squeezing that ball, compressing that ball together as I let that trail wrist come under to hit that nice kind of sold out chip shot. So again, I'm just down the grip, I'm compressing the sphere, and then I'm going to really squish it on the way through. I mean, those strikes are just so pure. And again, it's body related, little bit of flick at the bottom, quite soft arms, but squeezing the bottom of my forearms together. I mean, that's just for a training aid for chipping. As someone who struggled with their chipping, I would have been doing that for hours to get that feeling, taking the ball off and then literally trying to get that feeling in there without the ball, putting it back on, that kind of rep, you know, repeat, and then try and see if I've got that feeling in, put it on, repeat, take it off. Is it in there? Would absolutely be valuable for me. I think this on its own has got so many applications. Just the sphere on its own, I get a few students to put it basically under their lead forearm, set up to the ball feeling like they're giving it a little bit of compression. As they make their backswing feel like they're not really giving it that much more compression, rather than lots of golfers are very quick to kind of squish it across their chest, really squish it down. So this is quite a good one. It's a very restricted backswing, but it's quite good for getting people to realize that they can turn with that trail wrist set. And you could actually, obviously with ProSENDR on as well, you'd feel the set, that you don't need to get this way across your body. You can actually get your arms to feel like they're not abducting across your chest so much. That's just a little feel one. I mean, I think it's endless what you could do with it, and I think we're at the start of knowing what we can do with it. That's the ProSENDR. I think it could help a lot of golfers, like a lot. Remember, if you're keen on buying this device and you want to a bit more interest in it, hit my link down below. If you are, if you're not and you just want to watch other videos, I've got other videos here talking about how to improve your backswing. ProSENDR for me, loving that one.